This conversation is so we have to do some soul searching. What did Republicans do after 2020? They lied about the results of the election. They broke into the Capitol, and they still don't accept the results of that election. What happened this election? They said that this election was rigged. You sat here to watch me when Trump himself tweeted out, Philadelphia has crime going on. So no, the soul search.
You know, this is going to be tough to say. I went through the Project 2025 thing last night because I didn't know, like, before. I couldn't sleep for a few hours after this. And I went home and I really went through Project 2025, and I realized it really sucks for a lot of other people, but none of that is going to really affect me specifically. You know, like, I wasn't fighting for myself in a lot of this. Realistically speaking, Trump is way fucking better.
What the hell just happened, Dan?
I don't know. Well, I can tell you what happened. It's the fucking country has been pushing the most extremist issues that very few people gave a shit about, and it caused most Democrats to be fall out of line. The Democratic Party cared less about fucking unions and wages and the cost of your house and the cost of foods, and they cared more about fucking shit that I would expect coming out of a liberal arts college. And that was it. That's the end.
How do you feel about that, Stephen, given the fact that there's at least been some, you can call them insufficient, overtures by the Biden administration with things like certain legislation that they're passing, with their investments in manufacturing? You have seen some metrics, but the American people weren't buying what Biden was selling. But it seemed like there was an effort on some of these issues.
I think something I said last night that I feel pretty strongly about. No, I shouldn't say I feel strongly about it. Maybe polling data will come out that changes my mind. But I think that it might just be really boring. The answer might just be in 2020, COVID was like f***ing the country up really hard. We felt really strongly about that. So we just voted in the other party, which is Biden. And then in 2024, people were still mad. Cumulative year-over-year inflation. Prices go up. People get mad. They vote for the other guy. I feel like it might literally just be that. Like, as simple as that.
Are we underestimating Trump? I mean, every single one of these elections, 2016, 2020, 2024, they were all nail-biters. And this one is a convincing victory. I don't want to overstate it, right? It's still, probably going to be, for the popular vote, between 1 and 2 point advantage for Trump. But it's a convincing victory. And it wasn't like 2020 was like some out and out, about win for Joe Biden. Aren't we underestimating Trump? He's captured something, hasn't he? He's the different, in 2022, people were feeling worse kind of cost of living crisis than they are right now in terms of the objective measurement. But when Trump's on the ballot, something changes.
I don't know what you're getting at. He's captured something. I mean,
there's something about the Trump movement, the person of Trump, that I think a lot of left-wing and Democrats have sort of underestimated, and
I don't think you can underestimate it. It's just, how do you combat it? I don't know what you're getting at. If you're getting at there's some secret genius like way to appeal to the common voter, because I would agree with you, but the secret is like shameless ability to lie with impunity, to never live in a fact-based world, and then to take zero accountability for any issues you cause, and to take credit for every single thing anybody does, even if it's not you.
Is that an indictment of the electorate?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, like, the electorate is the electorate. They're who vote for you. So at the end of the day, you have to be able to appeal to them in order to win elections. So, yeah.
Oof. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of soul searching in the Democratic Party and among the elite. But shouldn't we? I mean, I for one think that there should be serious conversations about leadership. I mean, if the Democratic Party are going to pretend to be this, all about democracy people and the individuals who are trying to be a bulwark against some fascists, and they're failing at their job, don't we need to see some heads roll and some people be fired? Some people.
That'd be nice. I'm sure none of that will probably happen. It'll just be more business as usual. It's like, it sounds stupid, but this is the party that's just allergic to putting people up for election that are even remotely electable. Like, I swear they would choose. Like, it feels, I don't know, just so stupid. I said this when Joe Biden said he was going to stop. And I was like, I think here's my list of people I think you should do. Okay? And Kamala was not in that list. And people are losing their shit about it. And I stand by that. I think that was the wrong decision to just fucking thrust Kamala, because I think she was not the best for it. But I mean, the f*** do I know? Literally fucking nothing. I don't know. I know that from what I saw from the results, fucking women didn't like Kamala quite a bit as a result of all this coming out. And that's not good. I don't know. There's deep-seated bias in this country against a lot of shit, and Democrats just want to put their head in the sand of it and not change at all.
I think Joe Biden needs to take some of the blame himself as well.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I think he was been an exceptional president, but
How much soul searching do you think the Republicans did after 2020?
0.
zero.
Exactly. So, no, what do you mean? It's not a soul searching question.
But it's not a question of should we. I'm trying to just be objective about. What
No, you're
happened.
not. You're trying to super hardcore both sides of it.
You really
You're
think so?
wicking out. Yeah, hardcore, 100%.
You don't feel angry at Joe Biden for anything.
No.
Don't you think there's some hubris there? The
Well, for
decision
what?
to the
What
decision
should
to
he-
run for re-election.
I mean, he
What do you mean? The decision to run for re-election? How could you not?
How
Also,
could you?
careful not to hindsight this so hard.
Well,
Because, like,
I-
let's say that he says, I don't want to run for re-election,
Yeah.
and then we get a different person, then they lose.
Who was
Would
the last
Pisco
one?
be sitting here saying, don't you think there was a lot of idiocy in him not even trying to run for re-election as an incumbent?
When was the last time that happened? Lyndon Johnson or something?
Yes, but he had. Let's look at the facts. Historic disapproval ratings.
Who?
Joe Biden.
Every president has had historic disapproval ratings. Did Trump ever get above like 45%? Everybody
He did.
has low approval. Nobody, everything
did.
is so, he did what?
He did have approval ratings higher than that at some point.
What was Trump's highest approval rating?
It was like 45, 46.
I just said, did you ever have
Biden-
about 45? And you just said it was 45, 46. So every president is like unpopular. Like we have like a huge partisan divide right now. I don't know. I don't think Trump ever crossed the 50% threshold.
So you disagree that Biden was historically unpopular?
Historically, he might have been historically unpopular, but I think that's a result of the right being a cult. In that, if we have a Democratic president who's slightly unpopular with the Democrats, let's say that I have a president who's 90% popular. Then next year I have a president that's 80% popular with the Democrats. That 80% popular president is going to have historic disapproval because the Republicans are always going to be like sub 15. Because to them, it's anybody is like not acceptable. So yeah, there was historically low disapproval, but look at the Republican approval for Democratic presidents. It's unbelievably low. It's like so yeah, of course, anytime it sinks even a little bit with Democrats, but then also like, again, look at what he came into. Holy fuck. How many Republicans have you debated? I don't know if you asked the question. I asked them. They complain about inflation. What do you think caused inflation? They don't even bring up COVID. It's like not even a thing they think about. Like they've memory hold it completely.
You're not going to hear me fighting back on that. I think Biden has done an exceptional job as president. I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves, and I think that that's a shame. I don't think he deserves any of the fault for the inflation crisis whatsoever. And I think that he has put us on the path towards a great recovery. And I do agree with your doomer prediction that Trump is probably going to take credit for a lot of the good
Absolutely.
things
Yeah.
that he's done.
There's one path forward that needs to happen. It won't happen because it's not electorally popular, and it makes me sound like a sociopath. But I think that Democrats that are benefiting from Democratic policies or from Democratic successes need to start cutting off Republicans from those benefits. So if you live in a major city, there needs to be less funding going out to rural areas. If you live in a blue state, you need to fight the federal government when it comes to transferring funds from state to state. Like if you're in a red area and your economic productivity is low, you should suffer for it. Or if you're in an area and you're voting against like certain types of entitlement programs, if you're voting against FEMA, then your vote should be contingent on whether or not you have access to it or not. So that when they actually make bad decisions, they suffer for it. Because right now, Republicans are throwing anchors off the back of the vote, and you've got like you've got a rowing team of Democrats on test, okay, that are like trying to pull the ship forward, and the Republicans are acting like their anchors are helping. And they can delude themselves into thinking it because every single time, like this conversation is so cucked. We have to do some soul searching. What did Republicans do after 2020? They lied about the results of the election. They broke into the fucking Capitol, and they still don't accept the results of that election. What happened this election? They said that this election was rigged. You sat here and watched me when Trump himself tweeted out, Philadelphia has crime going on. So no, the
For
soul
me, it's
searching.
not about
there
fairness.
needs to be. This is very easy as a parent. There needs to be consequences. So if you're voting against certain things, then you should lose access to them. I think it should be as simple as that. And then I think that's the quickest way to start connecting people's minds to the results of what they're voting for, because there's too much of Democrats having to turn the other cheek while still carrying the lesser productive members of society behind us. It's insane. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this is something I saw before. I don't think it's Louisiana, but I think it may be Alabama, is that these states receive so much money in funding for shit like schooling, and they have like the worst, like the meme is you look at Mississippi or Alabama, and it's like last on like everything. It's like last on test scores, number one on like obesity, number one on like all sorts of fucked up shit, and last on all sorts of good shit you would want. And then they're receiving the most subsidies, and then they're also the ones that are like bitching and moaning the most.
But we here have now Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Yeah, but look at this list. These are all
blue
these
wall states.
All of these states that are fucking dark purple, right? Like California, net neutral. Most of the top right, pink here. Like dark purple. This is a Republican state. Republican. What is this? Kentucky, Republican.
Like these,
West
no
Virginia,
offense,
Republican.
these motherfuckers can't read. Like what the fuck, bro?
And you notice that the states that are almost like Texas, it's like half and half, so it's kind of like a little bit better. This is
also that's when you say a little bit better. What do you think the money's coming from in Texas?
oil.
Well, and Austin, Houston,
yeah.
Dallas. It's not coming from bump nowhere, Mister. Well, I'm gonna fight the Bureau.
Yeah, like that definitely doesn't exist in Louisiana. Like in Louisiana, what do you have? You have
New Orleans.
and I forget the name of it though. It's not. It's the one north of it. Anyways, there's another one as well. But yeah, like this fucked. This is fucked.
So I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing frustration from Dan on the Democratic politician front, and I'm hearing frustration about the
Sounds like
electorate.
we're in a focus group. That's what they do.
Well,
Say, so Dan, it sounds like you're frustrated.
But I mean, this is our country. This is our, electorate.
I thought about it. This is gonna be really fucked up to say. I went through the Project 2025 thing last night because I didn't know. Like before, I couldn't sleep for a few hours after this, and I went home and I really went through Project 2025, and I realized that really sucks for a lot of other people. But none of that is gonna really affect me specifically. Like I wasn't fighting for myself on a lot of this shit. If realistically speaking, Trump is way fucking better. At least he claims to be way fucking better for the Jewish people in the short term, I guess. Maybe. I still have my doubts on that. I think that letting Israel go full unhinged is bad. But when you pull up Project 25, remember they have the list of the shit. Like, let's go through this Project 2025 list. Like the stuff I care about. Fuck me. Is it a 30-part list or something? 30 things, steps. You must know what I'm talking about. It's a list of this shit.
I know the PDF that they published.
Fuck, I'm not gonna be able to find it now. But basically, actually, let me just pull up DGG. I'm sure someone has it. But basically, it was a list of all the shit, and most of it was related to abortion. Most of it was related to, I didn't like the part about putting Trump's people in power. I think that's kind of a bad idea. But a lot of it is related to abortion. A lot of it is related to gay people. A lot of it is related to trans shit.
Person that was just linked, it might be it. I don't know. That thing?
Let's see.
Or he might just be linking the whole thing.
I think this might be it, but this doesn't have like the nice things for each one.
I mean, gutting the FDA, gutting the Department of Education, these kinds of the changes.
I mean, I don't like those things. But as far as like specific things, it was like a bullet point list.
Yeah.
Like no more this. You fill Trump's offices with sycophants and shit like that, right? Like I was reading this thing and it was just fucking. What? No, that's not it either. I don't know. I've been getting fucked with. No, this is it. This is what I was looking for. Okay, finally. Thank you. All right. I looked at this, and let's just go through it. Let's talk about how much this actually affects, average person.
Well, wait, hold on.
Okay.
If we want to find it in the thing we can, I never trust lists like this because I never know how much is like out of context, and I just haven't seen it.
You want to go through the main thing?
Well, I'm just saying if you wanted to, we could because I never try because when Reddit people make lists like this, it always end up being fucking crazy. It might be a good list. I just don't know. I haven't checked it. And I always get hesitant to.
Fuck.
But if you want, you can pick one thing and we can look through it. But
okay. Well, how about if we say it's not the full thing and there is other stuff and it's out of context?
Sure, if you want to, yeah.
Because this is going to take a fucking while to go through.
Yeah, obviously, there's like 900 pages or some shit, isn't it?
Look, here's what it says: backdoor ban on abortion. Realistically speaking, doesn't affect me. I'm not a woman.
A lot of states are winning on their abortion protections.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't.
Were there? Did there?
There were, I think, 7-1 of 10. Florida failed, but it had a majority support.
Okay.
In Nebraska, I think they have the 12-week abortion ban.
So that sucks. Pack the Supreme Court with MAGA extremists. I mean, whatever.
It's going to affect you.
Huh?
If any kind of, well, I don't know. Do you care about progressive legislation agenda? That kind of stuff?
It upsets me because I don't want this to happen. But as far as directly affecting me, none of these things directly. Like
Sure,
I think my
tomorrow
life
on
will
day
be
one, it
no,
won't affect
not on year 3, day 1. I think I'll be living the exact same life as I am right now. I think that's just fucks over a lot of other people. And also, I'm skeptical of some of the stuff in here. So things like ripping immigrant children away from the arms of their mother. Like So Trump has said a million times he wants to deport all Muslims, he wants to deport all illegals, but I think that there's no chance he even remotely does it. And here's why. It's simple. Like, that's a fucking massive network effect. You deport one fucking illegal, and they had like 10 people here that they knew that were illegal. All of a sudden, you now have 10 people that are very upset with Trump that are absolutely voting against this guy or whoever this party was next year.
They're telling us they're going to do it. They have their comms people right now saying it's going to be the biggest mass migration
I
project.
understand that, just like the wall, right?
Well, if they're illegal, they can't vote anyway. So.
Well, no, the illegal people that they get rid of, right? The network effect there is like if I deport fucking...
Oh, you think their friends are going to vote differently? How many of their
Yeah.
friends were voting Republican anyway, though?
Apparently a fucking lot, right? Didn't we see some of the heavily Hispanic counties like voting all Trump? How would that change if it's like fucking my friend Jose just got fucking booted out of here for nothing? He's been here for 10 years.
Well, I don't know if... Okay, I could be over-expanding or over-projecting, maybe for my own family, but I think there might be a mentality of immigrants that, like, once they get here and they've made it...
Yeah, they're kicking the ladder.
There's a very big kick the ladder thing where they're like, fucker should have came here legally.
You don't really? You don't think they're going to have, like, friends or their moms or their something like that that's like, I can't believe they did that? I would hope so, but maybe not. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, we'll
maybe they
see,
literally
yeah.
won't care.
It'll be a massive expenditure, that's for sure.
Yeah, then I read something like $100K per extradition.
It'll be a shit ton of money to find these people, locate them.
That's okay,
and
though.
ship them out.
Republicans love spending, so...
And how is that even going to fucking benefit it? Isn't it going to like fuck shit up if they do that? Like who's going to be working on the fucking tomato fields?
Remember, you have to shift when you keep saying who's it going to benefit, people think that who's it going to benefit. It will benefit the Trump people. But you're thinking benefit in terms of like economics or whatever. These people will suffer economically to further ideologically what their goals are, I think.
Own the libs? Is that what you think the goal is?
Well, the issue, it's own the libs, but it's also, the issue is they've got themselves like in a perfect mind state right now where even if they were suffering economically, it's not because of what they're doing, it's because of, it's somehow still the fault of the Democrats. Like, for instance, so I tweeted out jokingly that, maybe the Republicans will admit that at least there's not like a crazy deep state rigging everything because we got crushed in this election. And they all said, no, that just proves that 2020 was rigged even harder. And I'm like, oh. So if we would have won, it's definitely rigged.
Yeah.
But since we didn't win, it was definitely rigged. And it's like, there's nothing. So even if they started deporting a whole bunch of people and then costs and prices started going up, they would just find somebody else to blame. It's never, ever, ever your fault. It's never your fault, ever.
So don't you have any like fire in your heart for the cucked Democrats for running? I mean, let's be frank. Kamala Harris, I admire who she is. I agreed with her policies, but she kind of ran a skittish campaign.
I think she sucks shit.
Because you can't do anything as a Democrat. You can't come out and take credit for anything because people will call you out of touch. You can't throw your administration under the bus because now it looks like you are what? So why didn't you do anything or why were you in an administration that disagree with everything? Meanwhile, Donald Trump can literally run for a second term saying make America great again, even though he was just president. Why didn't you make it great? What happened? And he can say things were horrible, but then he can also say remember 4 years ago where you were. Like Donald Trump said, remember where you were 4 years ago. That's why you should vote for me. 4 years ago, they voted Trump out of office with more votes ever. How can you even say that? So the reality is, and this is where I'm going to spend the next year shifting people's mind towards, is you have to stop playing that game. You can't do it. You cannot have two people step into the arena with different rule books. That has to stop.
I was talking with my brother this morning, and I realized something that of why Kamala was so shit and Trump like did so well. So Kamala had this thing like a first-time home buyer's credit, and I realized like, what a fucking shit thing to try and get elected. Who knows they're going to be a first-time home buyer and is going to care about that? Like, if you're trying to get votes, you need to be like, how are you going to tell me you're going to lower my mortgage rates? Like, why is Kamala not out there like, you know what? In the next year, if you elect me, the mortgage rates across the country, I promise you, I will do everything I can to get them down below 3%.
Yeah, but the problem is nobody cares. Nobody cares about the numbers.
I feel like those things move the needle more than pushing like, hey, I got a first-time home buyer.
I understand what you're saying, and I know that doesn't matter because there are more Americans paying historically lower interest rates on their mortgage at this point in time than there ever have been in all of U.S. history. And
it's got to be it.
Nope, because more people refinance. The average home person, the average mortgage right now, because so many people refied during COVID and everything when his interest rates were at 0%. The average homeowner mortgage rate right now is lower than it ever has been in all of U.S. history, and the average homeowner is making more wealth through accumulation of wealth than they ever have been.
Others? I mean, that's just an example of something she could bullshit on, right? To say.
Well, I think what he's saying is he fundamentally denies the framework that this is about policy.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
but
they can say things like
though?
that.
Yeah, she should have.
Yeah, you can bullshit, but then the problem is when the Democrats aren't bullshitting. I mean, you can just lie.
No, but why focus on a first-time home buyer credit when that's going to win you like no votes? at all.
I mean, why did Donald Trump say he was going to give a deduction for interest on car insurance? Multiple Republicans brought that up as a good idea. What a retarded fucking idea.
People are like, oh, damn, I'm going to be able to deduct my car.
But like, bro,
people are stupid. They don't know.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So none of this matters. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do.
That got him votes, right? People are like, oh, shit, nice. I can fuck it. That sounds sick.
I mean, I feel like a first-time homebuyer tax credit is a big deal.
I feel like nobody knows they're going to be a first-time homebuyer. Like,
I bought my first house on an Obama first-time homebuyer tax credit when I was 19 years old. That was a big deal for me.
You didn't know you were going to buy it at that time. That's why I feel like that's like the type of thing. It's like you're putting out you're going to do something. How many people know like, oh, I'm going to vote for you because of this? Like, I would say the difference is like, hey, if you vote for me, I'm getting rid of all car loans. We're just going to wipe them out. It's like, are you for real? Like, that's like, even if it's bullshit, that's getting people to be like, this motherfucker's going to get rid of my car loan if I do it. But saying like, hey, if you happen to find a quarter tomorrow, I'll give you $1. Like, who is that getting? Right? You don't know that you're going to find the quarter tomorrow. So why do you give a shit? Nobody knows they're going to be a homeowner. That's like so small.
But like, how do we defend? And I guess what Steven is saying is, who cares how we would defend it?
I don't think
if we were just like run on the platform of get rid of all debt or get rid of all like medical debt.
Or I mean, that's really the Andrew Yang's strategy, which I mean, even put him on the fucking map of literally just buying votes, basically. Being like, if you vote for me, I'll give you $1,000 a year, right? That was it. If I get elected, I'll give you guys. I mean,
Democrats kind of ran on that with the child tax credit. That's a ton of free money.
But they suck at marketing. Just say that I'm going to give you $1,000 a year.
They literally did the marketing for the child tax credit. It was huge. Everybody that filed their taxes under Biden got that tax credit. It was huge.
Then their marketing fucking sucks.
It's not that their marketing sucks. Americans don't care about that. Americans don't care about the money. We're not suffering economically. Despite how much shadow call me out of touch, despite how much everybody will complain about it, we're not suffering economically. We're just not.
Do you remember the scene? Did you ever see the movie Cheney?
No.
I think it was called Cheney. There's a scene in here, okay? I think we can watch part of this, okay?
Is this the Christian Bale?
Yeah.
I think it's called VP or VP.
Oh, yeah.
Like did you see that girl on Jubilee that I was debating who was talking about how groceries were too expensive for her 2 kids? And I was like, what about a $6,000 extra? And she said, you think $500 a month would help? Are you fucking retarded? How huge are your children that $500 a month, forget feed them completely, which it obviously would. It wouldn't even help? $500 a month? Another $6,000 a year wouldn't help you at all with groceries?
With 2 children?
Yeah?
This much, maybe. But if the price
what are your
of
children
groceries-
eating? Are you going to Texas Roadhouse every single night? What the fuck are we talking about? Jesus.
It's called Vice.
But yeah, so like it's not, none of it is.
No, I hear that. But it also sounds like, okay, 50 whatever percentage of the population is going to win the popular vote. Believe that there are, or at least some large percentage of America believes there's some real economic hardships that we're facing.
Sorry.
I mean, isn't it the height of hubris to say, unless you think it's true, they're all fucking dead wrong?
Yeah, it's vibes. I'm not going to self-reflect against the party who's like, they're eating the cats and the dogs, and I'm going to tear off every single thing and make your life better as a result. No, that's fucking retarded.
I don't know.
There's self-reflection to be done, but it's not on like, were your policies correct? Absolutely not there.
Can I? Yep, it's on that thing.
On anyone inheriting over $2 million, how many of you have a problem with that? Okay. How many of you would have a problem with something called a death tax? Instead of global warming, which we all agree sounds very scary, we call it climate change.
Folks, the government is taking your money.
So this shit is exactly what Republicans excel at and what Democrats are too pussy to do about, right? The death tax was a good example of this, right? It was the estate tax. It doesn't affect fucking poor, middle-class people. But because they said, hey, we're going to have a death tax now, and they called it the death tax, and the way that they framed it, they fucking pushed the narrative. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the fucking context is, and Democrats just don't give a shit about that. They're always like, listen, we're going to do a first-time home buyer credit. How about the fucking cut my car insurance half bill, but it has nothing to do with that, you know? Like, this is the shit that I feel like Democrats don't do. That's it.
They tried, it just doesn't stick.
No, they suck if they try, I feel. I mean,
Kamala tried to call the tariff thing the Trump tax, whatever. It didn't stick. Nobody cares. No Republican even knows what a tariff is. Like, it's nobody is in the policy world. This seems like it might. This might have worked back in the Rush Limbaugh days, but right now we're just in a totally different world. We're in a totally different
that
world.
Reactive though, like the like you're talking about, like Kamala going against Trump on the tax thing. Why even be on the defensive? Why not go on the offensive and say something that Trump's never said?
Call him a racist. Call him a terrorist. Call him
not
a
like
fascist.
that. No, because that's always just attacking. attacking him, talk about shit you're going to do that he can't do. I don't think Trump ever said, like, hey, I'm going to get your mortgage rates at 2, or hey, I'm going to lower the price of groceries in the next year by X, or I'm going to give everyone a state mandated girlfriend. Kamala didn't do any of that shit, right? And she could have, and she didn't. And it's because of all this shit. Instead, we have, hey, we're going to do a first-time homebuyer credit, or it's you know, if you happen to step in a puddle tomorrow credit. It's like, great.
Is he coping? It wouldn't have mattered. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think he's coping. I just don't think that this part of the messaging is why. This stuff can help on the edges, but I don't think it was the meat of what happened. I think people were just mad because of inflation, and they were going to blame whoever it was, and nothing mattered. This was easily the worst campaign that I've ever seen a candidate run before. Donald Trump, not Kamala Harris. His performances on like some of these rallies were insane. The amount of just like random crazy shit, like the bad appearances, the random tweet, they're at the very least, like, as much as I hated him in 2016 and even in 2020 in the campaign season, like, he was decently funny. He had some funny appearances. He had some funny quips or whatever. He like, at least he had that. But like, man, he was old and worn down. This like at least the end of this most recent election cycle. But it did none of it matter.
Let's pull the layer of fairness out of this, and the lever of us being frustrated out of this. Wasn't it fucking stupid to not have a clear divergence from Joe Biden, if for anything, for optics, for vibes, for everything? For Kamala, listen, I thought Joe Biden did a wonderful job. For her to be paying deference to Joe Biden all the time, for her to be campaigning with Liz Cheney and all these people, and trying to be the business as usual candidate where everyone was screaming, "We are dissatisfied." Wasn't that fucking stupid?
It would be hard enough for somebody in the Democratic Party to distance themselves from Joe Biden, the Democratic president. You thinking the vice president could have distanced herself from her?
Maybe, what would Trump do if he were just out
Trump
for
can do
himself?
Everything. He can take credit for things and distance himself from the exact same thing at the same time. He can say simultaneously, look at how low immigration was under COVID. COVID didn't happen. That's not my fault that unemployment was so fucking high. Look at how great the median wages were under COVID. I can't help that so many people, were stuck in their homes. Look at how the Democrats failed us, in the world peace or whatever. I can't help the BLM riots in my country. Like, he can take credit for everything at all points in time. There's no way you can't. If you're playing that game, you will always lose. You can never win. You will never win. It's like when you're playing. It's like playing.
That's the problem.
It's like playing with a 6-year-old who's like, "We're gonna make up our own superheroes," and then every time you like him, he's like, "Oh, actually, my superhero can't be hurt by swords." You're like, "Okay, well, I shoot you." "Oh, actually, I can dodge bullets too." And you're like, "Okay, well, I bomb you." "Oh, my superhero, I'm actually can't be hurt by fire as well, and I can kill you psychically." And then you're like sitting here like, "Well, can we theory craft the best superhero?"
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't win at this game with them.
Here's an example. I don't think this at all changed the election. I just want to be clear. I think that the Palestine-Israel stuff is overblown, but she was running scared on Israel-Palestine. She could not stake out a position that anyone believed with any clarity. Again, I'm not saying that that's the reason that she won or lost, but to me, it's emblematic. The campaign didn't have balls. It was scared.
That is interesting. I don't know why. Like, if you felt like Trump had the Muslim vote, which apparently he did at that point, why the fuck would Kamala even why be so... And like, I can't believe that's like half the Jewish vote went to Trump.
I thought it's like 80% for Kamala.
Wait, my understanding, my guess
Out of New York, I saw something. I said
the vast majority of Jews, my guess would be would vote for Trump. Trump was the huge pro-Israel
you guys
candidate.
Are two
yeah, wait, I didn't. Jews didn't vote for Trump.
I
Did
thought
Jews vote for Kamala?
voted for Kamala in big numbers.
Oh, then I guess I would have expected.
Trump, Jew, vote New York. Right?
Maybe since Jews tend to be more educated or maybe they tend to go Democrat more, I guess.
Trump picked up 50% of the Jewish vote.
That's just in New York, but nationwide.
Well, I mean, that's like half the Jews in the country.
I'm just saying nationwide, there are more Jews in other parts of the country. I think that the numbers were
Where do you want to check?
large. Just put exit polls Jewish.
Here, this is New York. Let's see. Exit poll. It's going to be dominated by New York.
Initial exit polls show Harris earning 79%.
Okay.
Those are awesome numbers. The Jewish vote isn't the reason she lost.
So that is a lot better than the one out of New York I saw. How could it be so high out of New York?
Because Jews are a Democratic constituency.
Yeah, they might just overlap on other values.
66 for Harris, 32 Trump.
And I just got to say, the same thing with black voters. They voted like at similar numbers to 2020.
I wonder... These things are so skewed. I feel like we're not going to be able to get a real answer on this because it's like...
We'll probably need to wait a few days for people to sort through a bunch of things, a couple weeks, yeah.
It's still depressing, but... That's fucking Kamala's fault.
I mean, what's the identity of the Democrats besides anti-Trumpism? What's your identity besides anti-Trumpism? What's your?
I mean, if you want
political
like
identity?
another like hard truth, might be that the Democratic Party is too white tent, that we need to start excluding people. Maybe we shouldn't talk about blacks or minorities or whatever, or LGBT people. Maybe we just need to eject those
what's
people.
our identity? Like think about like
The identity of the Democratic Party is like a party that includes like a whole bunch of different people that we're all trying to like raise
now
the
ask
tides
that question
of.
about the Republican Party.
White people that are
Making
approving
country
of slave
great,
owner. No, bullshit. Make the country gay.
anti-immigration,
Yeah, yes. Anti-immigration. It's an
immigration.
exclusionary party, right? Yeah. Fuck gay people. Fuck women that want abortions. But yeah, it's exclusionary.
There are some answers there. What is the Democratic Party in the sense
the
of
Democratic Party is literally like a liberal arts college.
I disagree. The Democratic Party is a huge white
There are
tent
some
party.
fault-
It's a huge tent at the moment. Maybe too many. It's time to kick some people out of the tent.
Maybe I don't know. That's how it felt to me, but I'm not as keen on politics to you. That's how it feels to me, the Democratic Party
That's
right
what
now.
I'm hearing, right? It sounds like
It's almost like the optics, even if it's not the case, even if they are trying to be the most pro-union, pro all this good shit, right? At the end of the day, what people feel is that it's just like the fucking, oh, this is a liberal arts student making all the
Yeah.
policy decisions. It feels that way, even if it may not be true.
It feels that way. And I just want to say I'm conflicted because I don't want to discount, because I understand that I'm in a bit of a bubble. I used to work as a bartender, but now, now I'm a lawyer. Now I'm in different circles. And I see Biden making policy moves that absolutely are pro-union, pro-labor, one of the most pro-labor presidencies, but people aren't feeling it. And if that's happening,
Well, people don't think they're feeling it. That's important.
I can't. What you're going to have to explain that distinction to me.
The perception, that distinction is everything. It doesn't
People
matter
feel
what
it
you're
versus
actually
people thinking they're
experiencing.
feeling
It
it?
matters what you think you're
Oh,
experiencing.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. What I mean is subjectively,
Yeah,
they're
sure.
not feeling it.
They think they're not feeling it.
They
Their
think-
their belief is that they're not feeling it.
Yeah.
That's their belief. Yes, they believe that.
So what the fuck? I mean, I'm trying to say I'm conflicted. I don't know. How could Biden have been more pro-labor? What could he have done to make people feel like he was more pro-labor? Because they were bleeding. Some working.
What are the
working
big, the
class
huge
people.
unemployment insurance? Is that part of the American Rescue Plan? Was that Biden or was that under Trump? The big unemployment insurance. I know the Republicans were the ones that were fighting to end it in every state.
I think there was a provision for that under the American Rescue Plan. I know that there were multiple like labor disputes where Biden was siding with the unions, to say nothing of the agencies that run a lot of the union disputes in those negotiations. What could he have done really to be more pro-labor? I'm genuinely wondering if people who are in the
I don't know if his policies were even bad. I just think his messaging around everything was bad. That's the problem. I mean, that's what I think the problem is. That's my feeling on it. He probably already had the best policies for that type of shit. He was probably already way more friendly towards union people than Trump is. Like Trump, isn't he wanting to try and get rid of overtime and like bust out unions and shit like that? Is that true or no?
he has said things. He had said that I don't want to pay overtime, but I don't know if he's wanted to implement.
Yeah, so I
policies.
feel like anyone that is a worker that did it is just they got sucked into the messaging. They lost the war of optics at the end.
So it's the info war. In that case,
Yeah.
I think that there's a clear message from this entire thing. One of them, which is that like the mainstream media shit, legacy media, that shit is on the decline / flatlining. The alt media sphere, people are getting their news there. And the Republicans and MAGA, they have a humongous edge. Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, you could even say like the pseudo legacy, I don't know, propaganda network. They have Fox News, which is kind of in cahoots with them as well. Charlie Kirk. They have a huge edge in messaging. And Democrats, they might have infrastructure of like people in MSNBC or in CNN studios, but do they have the alt media, the internet media, the new age?
Can you kill the AC?
Yeah.
No,
I don't know if they're equipped to fight the info war.
I agree.
It's I don't know. It's a little bit wild. It is what it is. So I'm saying, I'm glad I'm not like a pregnant chick.
Oh.
That's it. It's fucking cooked. I felt better. I don't even know if I already said this yesterday. I feel like nothing's. It sucks when Trump is president because every day it's a fucking panic. Every day it's a fucking news story, and you just kind of want to chill and not think about the world exploding. But even under Trump's presidency, I'm trying to think like, I don't know if he really did anything, right? That was like, the problem is if he starts doing shit and people stop getting the latest Avengers movies, or their house starts going down in value because people think a civil war is coming, or the food gets insanely expensive because of tariffs, or gas is on it. Like, if he does anything that upsets the status quo to a point where it actually starts fucking mattering, like, people are going to lose their shit at Trump. And
Will they though?
Yeah, if gas starts becoming like fucking $20 a gallon.
Will they blame Trump, or will they find a way to blame the Democrats? Because keep in mind, most Americans right now think that Biden was worse for U.S. energy than Trump.
I think that they'll certainly try. Trump will try to spin it that way. But regardless of what happens, people are not going to be happy if America starts turning into like a fucking war zone. Everything gets expensive.
I think there are limits.
People lose money.
I think you have a point. There are some limits here, and I'm hopeful about those limits. I saw one poll. I don't know if it's true, but I saw a poll that people are like thinking the economy is worse now. That's their perception than it was during the Great Recession.
Funny.
I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah, because it's all vibes, because nobody has any actual idea about what. This is why I don't, and people call me out of touch, but like, I was poor and I know poor people. People say shit about like their economic situation. They have no fucking idea what the fuck they're talking about. People talk about like inflation and shit like that. Like I said, I think that there are certain indicators that you can look at to see like if shit is truly fucked. So like when companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats are thriving, like I'm not going to take,
expenditures are
I'm not
like
taking anybody
high.
seriously on like, oh
Travel
yeah, it's, nah, I don't
expenditures,
believe
those
it.
are all
Nah,
high.
yeah. Like you could tell in 2007 that like people were fucked. I know because I worked at a casino, and the first thing that usually goes, I think, in big times of recession is entertainment, and that shit was felt. Your casino floor was empty, except for maybe Friday, Saturday nights, or I think Thursdays or football.
people
or something.
now
Yeah,
are
like,
vacationing. They're eating a lot. They're eating out.
How would it change things? You know the whole meme of when they go low, we go high.
Yeah.
How would it just change things if we had a fucking ruthless fucking Democratic?
We need some people with balls.
Yeah.
Some people with fucking energy. Some people with like, I don't know, some charisma.
Yeah.
You know
we don't
what
have any
is-
Democrats that can talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Kamala Harris. I think she did like again. I think she's an honorable person. She has trouble in those interviews. She can't talk.
Like not like a normal person.
Yeah.
Not like
I
Trump
feel
can
like
talk.
Mark Cuban would fucking dominate Trump. Do you think so?
I don't know.
You don't think that he has an ability to kind of
He can connect to that. Like I think Jon Stewart. If I were to pick someone like Jon Stewart,
you're that guy has a Zionist.
Jewish?
He has a Zionist last name.
I don't think anybody cares about that.
no, I'm just saying. Well, Shapiro's someone on the short list, but someone who can like talk like a real person. And I don't think Trump talks like a real person.
No.
But I don't know. Someone who has at least the perception that he can you can grab beer with him.
Yeah, that's true. I don't. It's fucked. Very Doomer-pilled, the whole thing.
I don't even know if I actually believe that.
No?
I don't know if people call Obama a charismatic president. I don't know if I got the same we could get a beer vibe with Obama that I
Really?
would have from compared to Bush and Clinton. I
Well,
don't
they
think
won.
so. What?
Well, Bush and Clinton won.
I know, but I'm saying that like in terms of like hang out and have a chill time, like George Bush and
could-
Bill Clinton
yeah.
absolutely were. Obama was like he was a good speaker. He seemed like a funny dude, but like quite
argue that there with
formal.
him.
Quite formal.
Let me ask you this,
It's formal.
Steve. If you could go back 1 year from now, okay, and so we're a full
Yeah.
year in the past right now, and Biden's like, you know what, I don't feel like doing it. I'm going to drop out. Who would you have with that whole year of preparation? Who would you have run to give the best chance to the Democrats? Because it's obviously not Kamala. So who would be the best?
Probably I would just probably say Newsom, but I don't know. I need time to like go
Jon
through a bunch of
Stewart.
people.
I don't know if Jon Stewart would do it.
The older Jon Stewart, I haven't seen him as much recently, but like the older Jon Stewart for sure. The one that interviewed Kramer, the one that went on Crossfire, that guy, yeah. But
He was pretty savage. He was smart.
So, he can level with the American people. Like these old timey politicians or in the classical style, when they give these long speeches, I don't know. It just feels people feel that it's fake.
I think, people were saying Newsom. I think my concern there is people would say that he's like out of touch with like a Texan, right? He's just some like
yeah, and the New York real estate guy, Donald Trump, who's a billionaire.
I don't disagree that they're very different people, but like at least they think he's like fucking showing up to NASCAR. Nobody is deluding themselves into thinking Gavin Newsom is going to a NASCAR race.
I think Newsom has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I think he has the perception of being a California Democrat, too liberal. It's about vibe too. We lost the vibe wars. We lost the info wars.
It is mostly about vibes. That's like everything. Like people are fucking stupid and they just vote on what they think is
yeah,
cool,
but that's it's
popular.
restating. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Where it's not about how you're doing; it's how you think you're doing.
Yeah.
Here, an interesting question. I don't know if any economist has any economist has dealt with this. No, like an actual like podcast economist. I wonder if, and changing this policy would be hard. I wonder if it might be politically incorrect to target unemployment as aggressively as the Federal Reserve does, and if inflation politically would be a more appropriate target. So for instance, right now the Federal Reserve has two prime directives. It's to keep inflation probably around 2%. It's to keep unemployment probably around 5%. It's possible that even if it would have been worse for America,
To have a recession.
even if it would have been worse to have a recession, they might have actually felt better about it if prices stayed low. Maybe we would have preferred 10% unemployment with a 2% inflation rather than insanely low unemployment, 3.2 at its lowest, 3.3% unemployment with whatever inflation got up to. Maybe that is the case. Who knows?
What level of control will Trump have over the Federal Reserve moving forward?
Who the fuck knows? Because he was bragging before about pressuring them to keep rates low, and he was saying this time that he was going to fire people until he...
Yeah, I think the entire modus operandi of the people around him, and him included, is to have unitary control over the executive government. And he definitely has unitary control over the Republican Party, who's now going to have unitary control over the legislative branch. And absolutely, if there's some Fed policy that Donald Trump wants, is there any reason that he would stop himself?
Of course not. You're
affecting Fed policy?
Not only keep in mind, because I said that there is in my opinion, well, Trump could do some mass execution shit, but in my opinion, one of the worst things about this election has already been fulfilled, and that's that we basically said, if you really want to commit crimes, lie, and be
okay.
that's fine.
Well, that's beyond any debate. And I just want to, this is someone, by the way, I'll never stop saying that Donald Trump tried to steal the 2020 election, insurrection, incited the insurrection, that the fake elector scheme was a fascist scheme, that he is a fascist. That's just, in my view, the absolutely defined the definition of those terms and the application to what Trump did. But the American people did not care.
Yeah.
That is conclusive. Those investigations are dead as a doornail. Maybe we'll get some reports, maybe.
Is
We
it
had a
just
conversation
that,
about
that
but-
people naturally prefer kings and queens?
Who knows? But there's a lot. It's funny, actually, on what you just said. Who knows what the American people care about? Because one of the things that Trump focused on a lot were lockdowns and BLM riots, remember?
Yeah.
Do the American people care about that? It seems like the answer would be yes, but Biden won after that, didn't he?
He did.
And it was Democrat governors that were blamed for right? So who knows what the fuck anybody cares about, yeah. I think people do want a benign dictator, though.
I think so. I'm at that point now, too. I don't think people want democracy. I think they want a monarchy with occasional leadership changes.
And also, there are metrics that you should think about, because before last night, the GDP doesn't represent all of America. The stock market doesn't represent all of America. After today, the stock market is posting all-time highs. Look what Trump is doing for the economy. Look at our GDP, one of the strongest economies in the world. Look, all those numbers that didn't matter, that meant nothing, now those are going to be the cornerstone of Trump's economic success.
So we're all well and doomered, but isn't there a path?
I mean, I don't think necessarily living under a king is the worst shit.
No. I think it's bad. I don't
know if it's so bad. It depends on who you are.
So Trump wins an election and now we're monarchists.
I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, there's a lot of countries in the world where they have essentially, maybe not in name, but in practice, China, Russia, a lot of Arab countries.
Places I don't want to live.
I mean, let me tell you, if you're rich, it's not so bad in Moscow. If you're rich, it's not so bad in China. It's not so bad in Hong Kong. It's pretty fucking sick. I don't know why you're laughing.
Because I don't know if you're serious.
That is true. Wait, the shittiest countries are probably some of the best places to live in if you are rich.
But, yeah.
Kurantos was a Somalian, which is one of the poorest countries on the planet. That guy studied internationally in Malaysia for comp sci and had maids and everything in a huge house, and he was an online dude. You have a nice life in those countries if you're...
Yeah,
Would you rather be an American middle-class guy or a Kurantos type?
It depends how rich you are. Would I rather be worth $10 million? Actually, let's do it. Would I rather be worth $10 million in Mumbai or here on $50K a year? Would you like to ask me that question?
Yeah, I'll ask you that.
I'll do 10 million in Mumbai every fucking day of the week. I will be a god out there. Unironically, you will be.
This is the country we have, though, and I would rather it not descend into a monarchy because guess what? I'm not rich, and there are a lot. I'm not.
Yeah, I understand that, but you are easy to sway. Everyone thinks they don't understand that that's not the case, right?
Well, careful, he's not a Trump voter. Damn.
No, but I'm saying like those voters don't get that.
Yeah.
Because Democrats are trying to play by the rules and Republicans are fucking.
Well, then what's our path? I think that we
there
need
isn't.
to,
There isn't.
No, I think there is.
There isn't a path. My path, I think the only thing is pure, complete acceleration and hope.
No.
I already said it before. I think it's the right way. Have all of the fucking Democratic senators, all the Democratic House representatives, all the Democratic
Resign.
Supreme Court judges, all of them resign, turn it into a fucking monarchy completely, and have them fucking
Okay, now you're-
and then you have it go. Fuck it.
my
Accelerate to a maximum speed.
He's blue MAGA with Josiah. I'm blue MAGA too.
this is
We're all
MAGA.
blue
It's
MAGA.
not, it's
We're all
not,
blue
it's
MAGA.
not MAGA. It's let
You're
them.
the lone one here.
It's
Fuck
let
you,
them
Pisco.
fucking catch the car and let America burn for a little bit until people demand something else. That's the only way. There may need to be I don't know what to say. It's not possible to fix it how it is. They have too many judges. They have now too many people that are going to be loyal to Trump forever. They're going to be in charge of the people that are counting the votes. That's it. That is done. So the only thing you can do is completely resign and protest and show the whole thing is bullshit to the point that they can't do anything at all. That's it. You might as well just do that completely.
I think this is a very emotional conversation. This is not to downplay what you just said.
To be clear,
Yeah,
because we like saying to be clear,
I love saying to be clear.
my life is fucking awesome. Under Trump, it'll be better than it would be under Kamala.
But I feel that there's I don't know, I'm super sad. About
I'm
what
the rich
happened.
guy in Mumbai. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, but
My shit's about to be fucking insane.
You don't seem happy. I'm not happy.
Because I care about other people.
Yeah. And so ipso facto, things can get worse. And if we just give up, they will get worse for people. And I think that if we have any hope of turning things around, I mean, right now, for example, there's genuine fights to have a 48 Senate. The difference between a 48 versus a 46 Senate is huge for the next election cycle. If we care about the people that you care enough about to be upset about the election result right now, I think that when you say, I'll be fine, it's a bit of a code because you're not fine. And I'm not fine because this election result isn't what we wanted and we're scared. And that's okay to say out loud, but I think we need to be honest with ourselves that there's an info war that we're not winning right now. And we need to have new tactics, new strategies, new armies, new maneuvers.
I don't think you have clicked into some stuff here.
Ooh.
There's been enough shit that's changed that I'm not sure it's possible to come back.
Ooh.
After this, in 4 years, there'll be enough people in power loyal to Trump that they're counting the votes. You don't need to control the vote. All you need to do is control the people that count the votes. That's it.
Josh Shapiro is the governor in Pennsylvania. Gretchen Whitmer is the governor in Michigan.
Sure.
Tony Evers is the governor of Wisconsin.
You realize
These are
how close it was right now.
Yeah.
Last time that Trump didn't pull some bullshit. How barely the
He did.
guardrails held.
He pulled bullshit.
You saw how much he stretched it.
Yeah.
And that was without his loyalists and every part of it. How do you think it's going to go when we're there again? And in 4 more years, and he's like, I either want 4 more years, or you know what? I'm going to have my son, and I'm going to be the VP.
The beautiful framers gave us these wonderful things called states. And somewhere in that whatever riddled brain of James Madison, he devised a system which assumed a federalist system where states have real sovereignty in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Democrats in positions of authority in swing states. It's not over. Doomerism can only take you so far. And I think that
You think we'll still have those people in 4 years?
Also, the United States, no offense, is
They're
not
in office right
successful.
now.
We're not successful because of our. I think that having our states is nice, and I think that's kind of a cool, kind of unique thing about the United States. On some ways, we have 50 different little countries that exist in
Yes.
this country, but more importantly, we have so much ease of transfer from one place. Our level of integration between all of our states is insane. If you want to buy something in Montana and drive over to fucking, Nebraska, or if you want to move from one state to another, or if you want to call somebody or whatever, we have an incredibly high level of integration from one place to the next. The fact that we are part, and this was to speak of the framers, speak of the Federalists, right? This was the argument, was that in order to succeed as a country, it can't be these articles of confederation, of cuck federation, I think they called it, It has to be,
That's what
we
they
need a
said.
constitution and a federal government. And that's important. To say that like, well, fuck the federal government. We still have like individual state governments. I don't think that's
I'm not saying
enough,
fuck
yeah.
the federal government, but I'm saying they're still in control of the elections and how they're run.
No, yeah,
And
I
these
understand that. I
elections were
understand
done
that.
fairly. And I don't believe that in 2 years, midterms are in 2 years. That's tomorrow, Dan. That might as well be tomorrow. All right? And I just don't want us to take this loss and be like, fuck it, give everything to Trump. What kind of reaction is that?
Dude, let me ask you this. How much power, assuming the Democrats... So here's what I know. Either the Democrats will barely squeak it out in the House, which probably doesn't seem likely at this point.
It just seems unlikely.
So it's going to be... We're going to have like 10 Joe Manchins, basically, moving forward, right? Yeah, every person that's in a purple state is going to be a new Joe Manchin for anything that's even remotely...
In the Senate?
No, in the House.
In the House?
Yeah.
If we eke out a...
If we eke it out, right? So if Trump wants to push out, we're getting rid of all... We're kicking out all of the... whatever, right? Something
Puerto
he
Ricans,
can't...
Haitians.
Yeah, something he can't do with an executive action, and he needs the House. I still feel like there's not enough support from even the Republican House people to do it, because they're like, if I do this, I'm going to get...
Actually, I'm sorry. Just as a quick thing, was the ACA? Did he try to kill that with a 4-4 court, or did he have a majority in his court when he tried to kill? Or no, I'm sorry, not the ACA. DACA.
DACA. It depends which effort. So there was an effort in, I think, 2018. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe even before that, and it was split 4-4.
Okay. Did that ever survive a 5-4 Trump's court challenge, or?
It did on procedural grounds on the Administrative Procedures Act because it was done improperly. But
Okay,
it's
so then
existed.
that's potential. Is that 800,000? Do you know how many DACA kids that we've paid money
Something
to
up-
educate, that we have like as
something
members of our
approaching
economy that
who
aren't committing
they're all
crimes?
removable. They're all
yeah.
deportable.
Yeah, okay. By single unilateral action by
Yes.
Donald Trump,
Yes.
assuming
If he
procedurally he does
just
it
writes the
correctly.
correct-
I wasn't
Yeah.
saying...
Yeah.
By the way, I was asking, how much damage is it that he can do?
By himself,
Yeah.
a lot.
A lot. He's the president. And the president, especially under Republicans, loves to expand that
if we
power.
don't have, if all we have is like, we're the minority, if the Democrats are the minority, and maybe there's a few Murkowskis or something like that in there in between, basically it doesn't matter, is what you're saying.
Basically, he's in control of the whole government.
So he can literally just do whatever he wants.
He has the courts. He has the Senate. If he really wants something, I think that they'll destroy the filibuster.
Is there any...
Wait, real quick. Do we know, is the Senate...
Senate's gone.
Like how much?
The minimum is 46. We could get up to 48. Rosen is looking good in Nevada. Casey, it's super, super close.
Okay, so at best, or at their worst, they have 52 votes in the Senate.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's still 2 mansions to fuck shit up.
On the
You have-
Republicans don't have those.
You have Murkowski and
no,
Collins.
they have 52 votes in
Yeah.
the Senate.
So we would have Murkowski and Collins, but that's 50-50. J.D. Vance breaking ties.
So we
You
need
would-
a third one.
You would need a third to
Who
like,
is the most...
And that's our best case scenario, because they might have 54.
They might have 54.
So basically then... Okay, well, that's the Senate. But the Senate can't do anything without the House, right? So how close is the House?
No, because a lot of the agency stuff, that's only through the Senate. So things like approving crazy bonkers judges, crazy
Are you
bonkers
telling me that
administrators.
fucking thing, that movie we all watched lied to me? I thought bills got born in the House.
That's
He's not talking about bills. He's talking about like, so let's say
Nominations
that
and stuff.
Donald Trump
yeah,
wants
yeah,
to make
no.
like Rudy Giuliani a Supreme Court justice. He just needs the Senate to confirm that, and he has it. Stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
So at this point, let's just say that Trump fucking takes out the remaining liberal justices for whatever reason. Just, SEAL
Kills
Team
them.
6 is that. Literally that.
We are hoping and praying for the Republicans to be the guardrails in the states. In that situation.
They're the only Republicans that were guardrails were bureaucrats, which is what is it Section F, or is it not Section Schedule F? That's trying to get rid of that. Yeah. The only Republicans that were willing to stand against.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is funny that you said that though.
I'm just saying. I'm just being real with you guys that if a scenario like that were to happen, the bulwark against that would be MAGA Republicans.
No, I understand. But you're like a Jew who's like walking to the gas chambers, and you're like, I know that Hitler's doing this, but I think Goebbels going to show up. Goebbels going to show up and save us. Like he's on his way. I swear.
Steven, it's cold comfort. I'm not trying to be.
No, I know.
comforting
I
in
understand.
that.
I understand. Yeah, but I'm saying that like any elected Republican won't do it. A bureaucrat could, because they're not trying to win elections. But an elected Republican.
What power do like the person in charge of the VA, someone that's not elected but was put there, literally they can just be fired for political reasons?
Yeah, especially with this core, they're all in on the unitary theory So
You can hire and fire. Well, to be clear, even without unitary theory, the president of the United States is allowed to
already
hire
had
and fire.
a huge amount of
Okay,
removal power.
let's move a subject here.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think we need to do this. Be realistic.
Yeah.
3 months left. What should Biden do?
There's very little he can do.
It sounds like there's a lot he can do, because it sounds like there's a lot that Trump can do. So what should Biden do in 3 months, starting tomorrow?
So
He should pull the plug as hard as he can on every piece of legislation that Democrats passed.
I think, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think it's fair to say that Trump can be able to do whatever he wants, and then saying that Biden, well, he's fucked, he can't do anything. He's a lame duck, old fuck that's going to be dead in a few years, no matter what. Anyways,
Well, what do you want him to do?
He should
I
also
want him to
enact
do everything that
every
Trump is
single
trying-
tariff Trump said he was going to put on. Biden should put on too. Yeah.
I think he should do something besides nothing for the next 3 months. If we're so concerned with Trump literally going fucking crazy, I think that then
here's
fucking
here's
Biden
the
does
problem.
the opposite.
So I see two kind of avenues of what you're taking. Either he can intentionally fuck up the country so that Trump has some kind of fucked up thing he has to deal with, or he can do something like fucking obscene and criminal, like take people out.
No.
And
What about
that just
something
seems
to
bad.
stop something that Trump wants to do in the future with questionable?
He's cucked. He's a lame dumb. He can't negotiate with people. Because
He doesn't need to. Just do it.
What I mean is, in international politics, he could try to do some shit, but like, who cares about it?
I feel like we're okay. You're like, what can he do? I'm saying he can do a lot that will then get challenged in the Supreme Court and everything in 6 months to a year down the road. But what can he just fucking do and say
that
fuck
Trump
you?
can't undo?
No, Trump can still undo it. But
Well, there's nothing really.
what
'cause
can he
they're gonna-
set in motion?
Like what?
That once
Or
you
like,
press
what's an
the button,
example?
it's
Like
done?
Trump can't undo.
What's a bad example?
Or like, what's
fucking
an example?
launching a nuke at Russia. Obviously, as an
Okay,
example.
well, then if that's-
right? No. I'm just.
Yes,
I'm
he
not
can't
saying we
undo
do that.
that.
I'm not saying we
Yeah.
do that. I'm just giving that as an example of that's something that you could do that would fuck a lot of things moving forward that cannot be undone. Right? As an example.
Yes, it is. You have found an example that Trump can't undo that.
There are other things that Biden can do, short of insane shit like that he could do today.
He could start a trade war, an actual war, to make it, make it so Trump has a heart. But he's not going to do that. But also, I don't want that. I don't want him to cause chaos for Trump to deal with, because I don't think that'll be good. And
Can Biden go right now and, like Trump is promising to do, where he would take everyone that's that's not a loyalist and fire them and put someone else in? Can he just go ahead right now and fire everyone and then?
Yeah, but then Trump's just gonna. You're making Trump's job easier. He'll be like, "Thanks, Biden. Now I can. Now I don't even have to worry about it.
There must be something. Here's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
There must be some things that once you do it, you can't get back in, and the only way to change that law is to have a supermajority.
The problem is you're assuming that
That was already in
no.
place.
The president can do things unilaterally that can be undone unilaterally, but he can't do something that
Easy
requires
come,
all the
easy
government,
go.
and then it can
Yeah.
or does something on his own that has to be taken back by all the government.
What I'm trying to think of is like an example, like for instance, once someone is a felon, okay, there's a law already on the books, okay. If you're a felon, that once you're a felon, you can't buy a car, okay, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, right? And that law has been on the books forever. And the only way to get that law off the books is with a supermajority.
Yeah, well, but you had to pass the law first, right?
No, I'm saying if there's laws in place right now.
But then he wouldn't be doing anything. It would just be laws on the books right now. No.
And anything
Yeah,
he's gonna do is gonna be
but the
reviewed by
idea is that
courts.
you kick people into this type of thing already, right? So you make people felons, and by virtue of that, now they can't go and do this other thing because there's other laws in place that can't be removed.
He can pardon Hunter Biden.
He should pardon Hunter Biden.
How about
He
that?
absolutely should.
What about if
he should?
Like as a meme, what about if he literally just fucking pardoned every federal criminal?
He could do that. That'd be unreviewable.
That would be done. You can't stop that.
Correct.
That would.
Why the fuck would he get every federal criminal out of jail?
It's a type of thing just to fucking.
It is a type of thing, yes.
It is a type of thing. Or why doesn't he pardon every single person that's committed of a drug crime immediately?
That'd be pretty. You want drug dealers to just
Didn't he
come
do
out
that
to-
with marijuana?
No, not entirely. But maybe he should.
Are
do
you
it all.
sure?
Kamala,
He's.
I think there was something.
I think
were-
the
they
thing
were
is,
just
just as a quick
simple possession.
Yeah, just as a quick thing, I don't remember the numbers offhand, but in the U.S. population, federal prisons account for I think it's
It's
less
a
than
small
10%
amount, yeah.
of all prisoners. It's mainly state prisons.
This is just the type of stuff I'm thinking about. What is possible for this fucker to do in the last 3 months that maybe will be challenged, that can't be undone by an action, right? It's something you do it, and people are like, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't press that button. And once you press the button, people can argue about it, and 6 months to a year later, after court, they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have pressed that button.
Yeah.
But what can he just say? Fuck you, challenge me in court and press that button today and make it so that maybe Trump can't accomplish all of his goals.
I would have said Obama should have just installed Merrick Garland as a Supreme Court justice at the end of his term,
How?
And said because Congress has waived its obligation under Article 1 or Article 2, I don't know, to give advice and consent.
Actually, this is a good thing.
But I mean, that's one example I can think of, but whatever.
Hold on. What does it take to appoint? What is the law of appointing a Supreme Court judge?
You need to have a vacancy, a place for them to sit.
What does it actually say? Because it's been increased multiple times in the past, not for a long time, but they've increased, like as far as the packing.
You need a statute.
Okay, so basically the president unilaterally can increase the amount?
No.
He needs what?
Congress to pass an act, a law.
Okay.
They never do that.
So he can't.
They don't even have the Democratic votes in the Senate to do that.
I don't know. I feel like
you need to break the filibuster to do that as well.
I feel like he would have to do something now that will be challenged and take time to challenge, and it'll have to go to the Supreme Court. But something that once you've done it.
Biden, love him, mean it. And Biden, I think that you've done the best job of a president in my lifetime. His time is cooked. This is cooked. He's a lame duck. He's got no power anymore to do long-lasting things.
That's not true.
It's a divided government.
I mean, it's a shitty example, but he could launch like a nuke at Russia, solidifying our countries being at war. I'm not saying to do that.
Yeah.
I'm giving an example. You're saying there's nothing he can do. There are more things like that he can do that cannot
Give a more
be undone.
mid-example. That's not like nuking somebody.
Sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
Okay.
I understand,
I'll give
I understand
you
the frustration. I do.
He could tell China we're no longer protecting Taiwan. It's all yours. He could end
anything relating to foreign stuff. The problem with negotiating with democracies is if you know that the person is on the way out, the other countries just won't take anything you say seriously.
Yep.
Couldn't he literally just destroy our military if he wanted to? No? He couldn't say, I hereby command the military.
They didn't impeach and remove him for that.
I'm pretty sure
If
the president.
it'd be like,
One, he would get impeached. Two, a lot of the stuff that goes to the military is like congressionally approved.
Can
Quickly.
the president with what
if he says I'm tearing down the military or something approaching that, or it's understood.
What about if he's like, I want all these battle cruisers at this position tomorrow?
And just
I don't even think I don't think they would even do it. I don't know if they would even follow through on it.
Again, this is all hypotheticals. I'm not suggesting this shit. I'm just saying, you think that the supreme commander of the armed forces,
Commander in Chief, yeah,
cannot say, I want all of my carriers, all of my ships at this in this port tomorrow.
He could.
He
it
could
would
say
be
it,
an
but like
absolute fucking shit show.
Well, I don't even know if they would do it. They'd probably just say, "Sorry, bro, you're crazy." Because didn't Trump try to do this with Afghanistan on his way out? Didn't Trump say, "I want to withdraw every single soldier and contractor out"? Was it Syria? I thought it was Afghanistan. He was like, "I just want to pull everybody out." And was it Mark Milley? Somebody was like, "Bro, we're not doing that." That's wild.
Yeah, it might have been Afghanistan.
Here's a good example. Great, this is a perfect one. Thank you to the person in chat. What about if Biden says, I'm hereby, by my executive decree, giving Ukraine 10 nuclear weapons? That's a perfect example. Thank you, chatter. That's a great example of something you can do that cannot be undone.
Can the president unilaterally sell military stuff to other? I don't think we can do that. I don't think the president even has that power.
He would be condemned across I don't think so. The world for doing that.
Why?
In violation of the non-proliferation. I mean,
who cares?
America. Who cares? I care.
I don't care. Did Trump
I think
care
that would
about
not
the
be
shit?
good.
People don't care. Yeah, wouldn't be good. Why not do that?
I don't think that's probably
because it's throwing a tantrum. What you're
that's not. No, not even. Fuck the
that's-
tantrum. That's like leading to the destruction of the entire world.
No, it's not.
Starting to hand out nuclear weapons to
Just
people
whoever-
is that
it's
would
like
be
Toys R Us. Nukes are us.
that would be bad.
I'm giving you an example. Okay, fine. Not a nuke. Something is insanely powerful. Like, hey, we're going to give you 10,000 fucking, I don't know, Trident ICBMs. They'll be there tomorrow. We're selling to you for $1.
I don't know what level of reasonableness you're asking. If Biden were to make an order like that, nobody would follow through on it. Nobody in the military would follow through on it. Okay.
First off, you have to follow
You
through.
don't have to. Nobody's forcing you. Unless Biden's going to show up with a gun and hold it to your head, they don't have to do
He is
anything.
the commander of the
Doesn't
armed
matter if
forces.
he can be the commander of the whatever. They're not going to do it.
He has no leverage. He has no. People understand.
He's going to get impeached.
I
like military commanders are going to go before fucking Congress. They're not going to follow him.
That takes time.
So does approving orders and shipping weapons and whatever. Unless Biden's going to go there personally with an AK-47 and tell people to, it's not going to happen.
I think both of you guys are, and you guys know so much more than me, but I think you're both wrong. I think if he puts in an order, says, tomorrow, I want this equipment sent here.
Biden tried, or I'm sorry, Trump tried to make Jeffrey Clark the attorney general on a phone call. He did. They were mocking him as the attorney general in the call logs, but it didn't happen because he had no idea what he was doing. He tried to make Sidney Powell a fucking special prosecutor because he said it on the phone to her. Like, it didn't happen. Like, you can't just, even though technically he does have the power to kind of do that, but you can't. There are people involved.
When you say
here.
it didn't happen, though, it kind of almost did. Like when he did that shit, did he not?
I don't know what the game we're playing is. Yeah,
but I agree with you formally. I think Stephen
in practice, it's not. People aren't
But
going to follow
we're
through
in
on
the real
it.
world, and he's going to face all kinds of pushback that will nullify anything.
So you think
he's trying to
that
do.
the commanders of the armed forces right now are not interested in listening to Biden? They're not.
I
his
think that there
allies?
have been multiple times
They
in
have other
world
interests.
history where, from the top down, there was an understood moment where nuclear weapons were supposed to be launched at a country, and multiple people involved said, "We're not going to do this," and the world averted nuclear disaster as a result of that. And if there was ever a compulsion to do something militarily, it would have been at these times.
What about this then? What about if there's a million ways to go this. What about Israel has nukes? What about if Biden says to Israel, "Hey, I want you to give some nukes to Ukraine, and for that I'm going to send you a fuck ton of aid right now."
Israel will be like, no. Oh, in exchange for aid?
Yeah.
If you give
shit.
nukes to Ukraine?
I don't know if we can do call-ins right now.
Why?
Brian Tyler Cohen wants to call in.
Oh, yeah, tell him call him.
Supposedly. Well, I'm sorry. Actually, somebody just said he's in YouTube chat, but I don't even know if we can handle it right now.
Why not?
If you have Discord, because I don't know if this is still wired for it.
It should be.
But
Message him the account.
if
I
you
don't want to say it.
actually, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I don't even know if he actually said that. Some fucking retard in my chat said
Okay.
that. So I don't actually know if he wanted to.
I understand the frustration. In my opinion, Biden can't do much to protect the country. The country has made its decision clear. The people have made their decision clear. It's up to us to draw lessons from it and find out what we're going to do. What I know I don't want to do, even though I understand.
What do you think would happen?
Is to give everything to Trump.
Hold on.
I don't want that.
Hypothetically speaking,
Yeah.
what would happen if tomorrow Ukraine had 5 nukes?
There's a whole
I don't
question
know.
about
I'm
they have
not
to
an
have like
expert.
the
I don't wanna-
delivery system. They have to be able to maintain them. Like the nuclear shit needs to be like refreshed or whatever.
I think it's
They
different
would-
for
everyone
the
in
missiles
NATO
than
would
it is for like a reactor.
No, even for missiles, they require like an upkeep in order to keep them functional and tested and to have delivery system. It's like a whole ass.
Everyone in the world, I think everyone in the world
would hate the
condemn
United
it,
States.
Would condemn the United
unilateral,
States.
or not unilateral, multilaterally. Every single country on the planet would condemn it. Yeah.
Well, anyways, these are the types of things I'm saying as an example of things that I believe that Biden could do.
Yeah, and it feels, and I'm not saying that because I feel the frustration. I think it's a real frustration. It feels like a tantrum. It does, and not necessarily from you. I'm just saying
sorry.
It's,
One more. I don't even know if you could do this. There's apparently, does the president have the ability to make someone a citizen?
no, Congress has the power of naturalization,
So the president can't give someone citizenship.
not beyond what Congress has. Well, I mean, we'd have to test it, right? I guess, but Congress has the power of naturalization.
No, the president can make citizens.
Show me where that's allowed.
All you have to do is bang your mom, have a kid. Boom! U.S. citizen. Absolutely destroyed.
Destroyed.
Yikes.
Yeah, obviously declassifying powers. I just
The Epstein folder.
sure, but I don't know if that moves the needle. I'm talking about stuff to try and prevent what we know is coming. What's coming
can.
what's coming under Trump?
A shit ton of shit.
We know that Russia is going to take Ukraine, right? And the current administration does not want that to happen.
Donald Trump has promised to end the war in Ukraine on day one.
Yeah, but we all know how
And
that's
I
gonna
think that that's not going to bode well for the Ukraine. And I think that means that there's going to be some settlement, some agreement whereby some large chunks of Ukraine are given over and ceded to Russia, including Crimea and.
Brian, I'm Steve Abinell, the second in chat. You can email me on that email if you want to hop in. I think the war will end soon. I think that Crimea and I think that Luhansk and Donetsk I think are going to be given to Russia because Trump is going to want to pull the plug on that conflict, and I think Russia might even give back like Zaporizhzhia and
The power plant?
and Kherson or whatever. They might even give back something as a sign of good faith, and then Trump will say that he like made peace.
What is amnesty exactly? Like how? Like I'm seeing people like pardon, give more citizens, all this type of shit. Like can Biden right now do something with all the illegal immigrants if he wanted to?
The president has 3 different temporary like immigration measures that he can do to let people in like temporarily. One is called TPS, which is temporary protected status. There's
That
2
can be
others,
undone in
but
a
that's all
second.
just temporary stuff. That's not
He
citizenship.
can parole in place. He can,
Yeah.
that's going to be cucked by the courts, and you're going to have a lot of trouble with this Supreme Court. Think about what they did undoing the the student debt stuff, if you have any kind of wide systemic immigration relief by this administration, one, you're going to anger the population who just voted in one of the most hawkish immigration person. You know, you're not tracking where the country is. That's number one. And then number two, it's going to get cut by the courts. You're going to invoke the major questions doctrine or some other doctrine to be like, or maybe even legitimate statutory interpretation to say, hey, president can't do this. I mean, Congress has made specific paths for you to get a green card. And I don't think that the president has the authority to just snap his fingers and give all these people green cards.
All right. I'm going to stop going in on this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You guys are like, when Trump's in place, he's going to fucking do everything. Unilaterally, he's going to do whatever he wants. And I'm like, so, hey, what can Biden do for 3 months? And you're like, oh, nothing.
Because Trump is doing it at the start of his administration with a mandate from the American people.
Yep.
Biden just lost the election. That's a totally different thing, yeah. Like if you ask me, what can the president do in 3 months? That answer is way different at the start of the administration versus the end. There's a way different.
I still feel like he could do stuff right now.
He did a bunch of stuff at the start of his administration.
I
He's saying
feel
to
like
fuck
in the
over
next
Trump.
3 months, he still has roughly half of Americans supporting him. Generals still, they might not like it, still have to listen to his orders.
They don't.
I think if you don't listen
Yeah, but
to
if
an
you go
order
too
that's
crazy,
lawful,
if you get too crazy, what he's saying is that you're going to see people.
if you go too crazy, but I don't think right
Giving
now,
nukes to Ukraine?
hold on, right now the policy of the United States is that we are protecting and defending Ukraine. We are
And
giving them
Israel.
weapons.
Yeah.
Okay, it is not so far. Holy shit! Wait a second, we're giving them shit that already does a lot of damage. Okay, maybe we're not giving them a
How
fucking
does that
SAR
help?
bomb.
I'm not even sure Ukraine would accept them.
Okay, forget the nuclear weapons. What about giving them a fuck ton of, like, I don't know, javelins or whatever the fuck it is that they would need to actually make a difference? Long-range missiles
I don't
that
think
can
the
strike
president can
into
do it unilaterally. I think you need approval from Congress for that.
to sell weapons.
Oh,
Don't you?
We could just send him once they have them.
Yeah,
undo that. But
I mean, he is the supreme commander. It's his decision.
What-
It's the
what are the
supreme commander, but
consequences?
I don't know who owns. Like, I don't know if it's like the United States Army, like as an entity that owns something.
Biden
Congress
could.
can't, like,
Biden absolutely could do things to improve Ukraine's armaments in the time left he has. He absolutely could do that. 100%.
Yeah, and he could give them, like, for instance, the example would be, forget nukes, because that's like too inflammatory.
He could give
a long-range
other-
missiles
yes.
that could strike directly into the center of Moscow.
Yes.
He could give them a huge delivery of them that could basically, like, annihilate Moscow.
Yes, but he would risk.
What?
There are strategic reasons why he hasn't done that yet. There are geostrategic interests. At one point, I think there's a leak that they were estimating the possibility of a Russia tactical nuclear was like at 50%. There are reasons why the Biden administration has maintained the policy. I know people are so frustrated with the wishy-washiness sometimes and this kind of like middle road approach by Biden, but there is a method to the madness in some accounts. And maybe for the American electorate, that didn't work.
What about
but
giving one to Poland, as an example?
giving a
Giving
nuke
one-
to Poland?
Yeah.
giving a nuke to somebody is like that's like
a big
doomsday
no-no.
level shit. You're like,
Giving a fuck ton of long-range missiles to Poland.
what is Poland
they're-
going to do? Poland can't attack.
The idea, okay, is that Poland's probably next.
That's a different.
Poland also has
Hopefully
like an
not.
autocratic little bent
It doesn't
to
matter.
them.
Poland's in NATO,
I know.
so that's a whole Article 5. I don't think Russia would even attack Poland.
Okay.
I understand. Listen, it sucks. This really sucks. And there was a reason why we were like fighting tooth and nail to try to convince people, but we didn't win, and our message wasn't getting through. And so we need to do something other than coming up with these fun little.
So what are the executive actions that are limited by President Biden? What can't he do?
There's a lot of things he cannot do.
What can he do?
Wait, what's the next part of this conversation?
I don't know. I think that the next part of the conversation is
What do you think?
What are
You
you gonna do?
keep making it sound like there's some really obvious soul searching that the Democrats need to do to like
I
be
think-
nicer to people
No.
or to be more cocked or to
No,
like,
I think that-
use like anal gapers
no,
so that we
no.
can be ready to get fucked by
No.
multiple dicks at the
Listen,
same time. What is it? What do you think needs to happen?
one. I think that we need to. There's part of what you're saying that I totally agree with. We need to grow some balls, and that starts with the Democratic politicians, but it also starts with you. We already have balls, but I mean to say, you need to expand on your level of influence that you already have.
Yeah,
the
I've been
media
working on it,
sphere
yeah.
right now, the alt media sphere is dominated by right wingers.
Yeah.
and by crazy MAGA cultists. This is like an effort for us to purge the cultists, or at least make it some kind of fair fight in the alt sphere. So we're getting our message out.
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
getting our framing out.
I agree.
And I think that's a positive thing that we can do.
Yeah.
Is to grow as an enterprise.
I agree.
Based. And then let's back some politicians. Let's carry forward some of the work that you've done. already in the canvassing, but let's support base politicians, people with balls, people with some kind of personality, some kind of like identity beyond just anti-Trumpism. We need to define ourselves as more than just what we're in opposition against. That's my take.
Hey, speaking of which, did you know that there's like almost another hour of this podcast that you're not going to see on this YouTube video? If you want to get the full thing, you have to be a Patreon subscriber, which you can do at patreon.com/anything else. You also have very cool things that you get in there, like being able to be on the live show viewer call-ins, suggesting the topics, and like behind the scenes footage. There's some really good stuff there. So yeah, check it out.
Some more Patreon exclusive footage. And here is my neighbor's cat, ready to get into a fight to the death with Lycan's dog. He's a big pussy, though. He's just smelling.
You chill.